Con la Universidad de Wisconsin. Yo vivo en Costa Rica, entonces siento que a veces hay problemas por toda la red de América Latina con el internet a veces. But now we will transition into English. My name is Sara Bembenek-Saborio, and I am an international program coordinator for the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I'm very, very excited to be speaking with you. I hope that the next short 20, 30 minutes of presentation is valuable to you. Please ask any questions that you want. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have, and we'll get started. So today what we're going to look at is preparing for college and kind of this, and keep in mind, right, college is university, right? In English, college and university, looking for at kind of how to find your best fit school if you're looking to go to college, and how high school study abroad might help you with that. So here you can see a picture of our campus. We have a very large campus. I'll tell you a little bit about it in a second. So before we get started, I want to kind of learn how you feel. So I want to know how you feel about the idea of getting ready for college. I have some pictures I'm going to show you. If this applies to you, you're welcome to raise your hand or write something in the chat like yes, or that's me, or you can even put an emoji if you want. But I want to see how you feel about this idea of going to college, getting ready for college. Right? So some people feel like this, right? They want to cry and they're stressed out. They don't know what to do. They don't want to leave their families, whatever the case may be. Okay. Some people might feel like this, right? They feel good. They know what they want to do, right? So right there's, you feel at peace with the idea of going to college. Some people feel like this, right? Like they're like, what am I supposed to do? I don't even know, right? Confused. Okay. Some people might feel like this, very excited, right? I actually have 3 kids myself. My oldest son is only 13, so he still has a long way before he goes to college. But he's like this, right? Like the US mentality is very much like kids get excited to leave their homes and go study and have independence. And so I would say this is my oldest son right now, even though he's many years from college. So the point of these pictures, right, is that getting ready for college can be awesome, but it can also be stressful and sometimes scary and sometimes overwhelming. And so I hope today that we can talk a little bit about at least one part of that and help you, feel a little bit more confident in getting ready for college. So today what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of 3 things. We're going to first look at kind of the US college structure, and I imagine it's quite different from El Salvador. So we'll take a look at the structure of college in the US, talk about this idea of finding a best fit school, kind of what that means, how you can do that. And then we'll look specifically at some programs we have at the University of Wisconsin-Madison that you can do as a high school student when you're 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, to kind of help you maybe find a good school for you. So before we get started with kind of the main information, I do want to show you a little bit about Wisconsin and where I'm from, because I think a lot of people aren't always familiar with Wisconsin. So Wisconsin is a state located in the Midwest. Madison is actually here. We're the capital of the state. We have about 350,000 people, and we're about 2.5 hours north of Chicago. So most people have heard of Chicago. Most people who come to Madison will fly to Chicago and then take a bus up to Madison. Madison is actually an incredible place to live. It was actually named last year as the best city, in 2002, because now we're in 2004, 2002 as the best city to live in the whole United States. And why? Well, a variety of reasons, right? We've got a great educational system, which means that there are lots of good job opportunities. Madison, as you can kind of see from the picture, is a very green, environmentally focused city. There's a great work-life balance there. You can raise a family. It's very safe. So it's an awesome place to live and to study, and it would be a good opportunity for you. Giving you a little information about the university itself. So the University of Wisconsin-Madison is a very large school. We have about 45,000 students, and we have 230 different things you can study So that's majors and certificates. Majors are, of course, the main thing you study. Certificates are also sometimes known as minors, and the kind of smaller thing you would study. We're a big research institution and we're a public school. Something very important to know in the United States, public does not mean free. So when you hear, I know in many countries, like I said, I live in Costa Rica, and public universities in Costa Rica are almost free. And in the United States, that is not the case. So it's important to understand that. But we are, in theory, less expensive than maybe a private school. All right. So let's take a look at what kind of college structure looks like in the United States. So the first thing I think that's very important to know is that in the United States, oftentimes kids will go and live at their university, right? I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. My parents lived 20 minutes from campus, and the whole time I was in college, I lived in an apartment. So the university was my home. Even though my parents lived very close, I lived on campus, and that's very common. So what does that mean? It means you have to make sure you love it, right? Because it's your home. It's where your friends are, where you work, where you study, where you sleep, where you eat, where you do your exercise, where you do everything. And so it's really important for you as a student to choose a school that's best for you. Okay. Now, in the US, right, we work very hard when we're students in college. But then we also play very hard, again, because most students live on campus. And if you're an international student, you would definitely live on campus because you would not be commuting from El Salvador to the United States every day. That means that, we work very hard, but then you're around your friends and around people that you really enjoy being with. And so you get the chance to play very hard as well. So what does a typical kind of class experience look like? So most students will take 12 to 18 credits, or like hours of class per week. Okay. And what this means is that the homework is usually double your class hours. So if you're in class for 12 hours, you'll have 24 hours of homework. If you're in class for 18 hours, you'll have 36 hours of homework. So you can see that your day gets, or your week gets, really full really fast. It's also very, very common for students to work because, again, most school is not free. And so usually kids will work on campus. They might, work on things in the dormitories or in different libraries on campus, or they might actually even like get more of a job related to something they're interested in, like a laboratory job or something in a certain office that they like. But it's very common for kids to work. And then on top of that, they also are involved in other activities, right? Because you're living on campus, there are clubs and sports and volunteer activities and organizations you can be a part of. So your day is very, very packed. Now, as far as things you can study, right? Typically an undergraduate degree, undergraduate is pregrado. Undergraduate degrees usually take about 4 years. But in the United States, it might be different from El Salvador in that the first 2 years, everyone kind of studies the same thing. So if you're a business major or an engineer or an art major or a food scientist, okay, all of those students are going to all take a math class, some sort of a science, some sort of humanities, maybe a writing class, okay? And then what happens is when they're generally in their last 2 years of school, then they're very focused on their major, on engineering or on business or on art or whatever it is they do. What this means is that when you go to college in the US, you don't have to know exactly what you want to study. You can be undecided. You can literally enter and say, I don't know what I want to study. I know I want to go to college, but I don't know. And that's fine because you have those first 2 years to kind of explore. Okay. And like I mentioned already, there are tons of options at the University of Wisconsin. Undergraduate programs alone, there's about 130. I know on the other slide it said 230. That's because that also includes kind of the graduate programs that we have. All right. So I'm curious if you know, and you're welcome to put a number in the chat, how many higher education institutions, so colleges, universities, community colleges, are there in the United States? Okay, this is an important number to know. And I'll tell you why in a minute. All right, so the number is about 4,700. Okay. Now, this is a huge number. Why is this important? because it means you have a lot of choices, right? If you are interested in coming to the United States for school, there are tons of choices. Most students, okay, I travel for work and I visit schools in other countries, and most of the students can tell me about 10, right? They can tell me the Ivy League schools, the schools that they see in Netflix, the schools they see in movies, but there are 4,690 other choices, okay? What that means is that you have to find the school that's best for you, right? And that was kind of one of the main goals of this talk today, is figuring out how to find a school that's good for you. So, what kinds of things do we need to think about, right, when we're choosing a school? I will tell you that the number one thing you should not think about is its name. Okay. And I tell you that very honestly because the name can be the most famous name in all the universities in the United States. But if that school is in a city you don't like, if it doesn't have your major, if it's too expensive, if you can't get in, or for some other reason it's not a good fit, it's not the best fit school for you. Okay, so you need to keep that in mind. The ranking and the name are not things that should be most important. Okay, things like the weather. Do you like hot weather? Do you like cold weather? This is Wisconsin right now. Wisconsin is cold and snowy. I love it. My Costa Rican husband does not love it. Right, so it depends on the person. Okay, do you want a campus that's a little more rural, more nature, a little quieter? Or do you want to be on a campus that's in the middle of a huge city with a lot of noise, a lot of people, of course, a lot of activity going on? Okay. How much does it cost to fly there, and how far is it from where you live? Maybe you want to go far away. Great. Maybe you want to be closer. Okay, that's something to think about. The cost of the school. And remember, it's not just the number you see on your screen when you type in University of Wisconsin-Madison, because there are other things to think about, right? You have to live there. So how much does that cost? Maybe there is financial aid, scholarships. So you can't just look at one number online and know that that's the number, because that's not true. There's a lot of other things you need to, good and difficult things you need to think about related to cost. Okay. And also, do they have the program you want? If you want to be an artist, okay, the University of Wisconsin-Madison has a great art program. Maybe you could come here, but maybe you want to come for something architecture, for example. UW-Madison does not have an architecture program. So we're not a good choice for you, right? So you need to know what programs are offered so that you can choose, art or engineering or study whatever it is that you actually want to study. All right. So what does this mean? We looked at all these things, and of course, there are many other things you need to consider when you're choosing a school. But what my advice to you is number one, you need to think about some factors that are really important to you, right? No school is going to be perfect, right? Nothing's ever perfect. But if you know that cost is very important, or you know that you really want to be close to, an airport so you can fly home often to see your family, or if you know that you want to be at a small school, or you want to be at a school where there are other students from your country, then you need to choose those factors. And then what you need to do is do a lot of research to find maybe 4 to 6 schools that are in that criteria, that meet that criteria. Now, how do you find those schools? So you can, of course, work with people like Marielle, who can help you, with identifying different schools. If your school has a college counselor, you can do that, right? You can talk to family or friends or teachers who have gone abroad, okay? And not to Disneyland. Don't talk to those family members, but talk to people who have maybe lived abroad or been abroad for work and have a good idea of like different kinds of cities and what they're like. You can, of course, do online searches. And this is an awesome website that I recommend you check out. It's Big Future College Board, and it's a great website that helps you filter different schools based on different criteria. So again, if you want a big school or a small school, if you want a school in Wisconsin or you want a school in Florida, you can filter out, and it'll help you go from 4,000 schools to like 5 schools in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. It's an amazing website. Okay. So those are kind of some thoughts about how, you can think about all these options, these 4,700 options just in the United States, and then kind of narrow them down relatively quickly. Yeah, absolutely. So I will throw this, actually, let me minimize this, and I will throw this in the chat for everyone. Hold on. I need to reduce my screen. So let me show this. I'll actually show it to you, but I'll also throw it in the chat. so you can see how it works. Okay. So when you go to this website, can everyone see this screen? Yes? Okay. So when you go here, it starts out, look, there are 4,452 colleges, right? So this is a huge amount of schools. But what you can do is up at the top here, see all these different buttons. You can reduce or you can filter based on, this what you need. So let's go to location and we're going to start out with Wisconsin, right? I'm in partial. So we'll put in Wisconsin and then we'll put in also, I like the state of Washington. So we'll put in, you can put in as many as you want. Actually, I think I need to do one at a time. So let me do this. Wisconsin, and then I'll put in Washington. It's always very stressful to type when people are looking at you because then you always spell things wrong. So look, we put in 2 states and look, now we're down to 151 schools, just like that. Okay. Now let's do something else. Let's do majors. So I majored in education. So we'll choose that just for fun. And then we'll also do, let's do, computer science. You can pick a bunch of different schools. Let's do this one. And we'll throw in one more. Let's do, I don't know, we'll do mechanical engineering. Let's do something artsy. Let's do dance. Okay. All right. So now we are down to 110. So a lot of those schools actually offer both. Let's go into campus life and let's pick kind of a middle-sized school. Okay. And a large school. Let's say we want, I don't know if it'll let me choose both. It will. Okay. Now we're done. Look, 8 schools and we've been doing this for 1 minute. Okay. So I'm not going to go any further, but this shows you how right away we went from 4,000 schools down to 8 schools. And these schools all meet that criteria that we talked about. Then, of course, you can click on these websites and go in and do more research about, look, there's a bunch of ones in Wisconsin, La Crosse, Milwaukee, UW-Madison, which is where I'm from. And it'll give you an idea of a lot of different information. So this is an amazing website. I highly recommend it. Okay. All right. So you can use that as a way to kind of identify some schools that might be good fit for you based on the factors that you have. All right. So now let's transition into talking about high school study abroad, because high school study abroad is something you can do right now as a high school student to help you kind of experience and understand schools that might be a good fit or not a good fit for you. Okay. So first of all, what is high school study abroad? Let's make sure we all know what we're talking about. And sometimes I put this picture. This is actually from a program we did this summer. And a lot of students say, well, maybe it's studying outside. No, it's not studying outside. Okay. But what it is it's when you study at a school that's outside of your country. So you're in El Salvador. If you go to Mexico, if you go to Costa Rica, if you go to Germany, or if you go to the United States, those are all study abroad experiences. Okay. High school study abroad programs tend to be short term, right? Generally a couple weeks long. And what's good about that is because, of course, they're shorter, they're less expensive than a pre-college program. I'm sorry, an undergraduate program, right? A pregrado, right? Because they're shorter, they're less expensive. And there are options for both virtual and in person. And I know a lot of people say, oh, COVID, I'm so tired of being online. But you know what? The virtual programs, like now that we don't have to do them, right? The ones that are online, some of them are phenomenal. And there's sometimes a great option if you have, if it's difficult to get a visa or if cost of an in-person program is hard, the virtual options are awesome alternatives. Okay. So let's take a look at why high school study abroad, why these experiences would be important for you. Okay. Why would it be helpful for someone who's 15, 16, 17, 18 years old to go for a couple of weeks to another country and experience, a study experience? So first of all, exactly what we're talking about. It gives you the chance to experience a school virtually or in person, right? You get to see if you like, what they offer, what their programs are, if you like its size, how far it is from where you live, the weather, the academics, the city where it's located. You get to actually see it. Everyone on their website has everything that's wonderful, but not everything is wonderful for every person. So you need to go and actually experience what it's like. It gives you the chance to have an international experience for future use. What do I mean by that? Well, of course, if you come to the United States, your program will be in English. So it's a great opportunity for you to live in English for 2, 3, 4 weeks and really work on your language skills. It will help you to improve your student profile. If you don't know what a student profile is, in the United States, students, of course, have to take some tests to get into college, but a big part of their application is who they are and their activities, right? Are they in band? Are they in art? Do they play a sport? Do they do debate team? Do they volunteer? Are they active in their church? All these activities contribute to who you are as a person, not just your test score. And in the United States, that is very important. This is a great opportunity. If you go to another country and live for 3 weeks and practice another language and share your culture with other people, that is an amazing, very unique opportunity that improves your student profile. Okay. Another thing, and I don't have it on here, but I want to give you an example. Study abroad as a high school student can have amazing benefits in the future. I will give you an example. We have a student, his name was Christian, and he was from Mexico. In 2019, he came to one of our programs as a high school student. He was a high school student in Mexico. He came for 3 weeks to Madison, and then he went home and he went to college in Mexico. Okay. But during his college program in Mexico, he wanted to study abroad in, I believe, Germany or Switzerland. And he needed a letter of recommendation, right? Una carta de recomendación for the program in Europe. Who do you think he asked for the letter? Did he ask the University of Wisconsin-Madison, or did he ask his Universidad de Guadalajara in Mexico? He, of course, asked Madison. And some people say, oh, maybe Madison's a better school. No, Madison or La Universidad de Guadalajara is an amazing school. But when he wanted to go to Europe, they didn't care that he can speak Spanish because he's been speaking Spanish his whole life. They didn't care that he could live in his city with his parents in his community. They wanted to see if he could live in another country, if he would be okay speaking another language, if he felt comfortable being around people who were different from him. And his experience in his high school study abroad program showed all of that. So we wrote him a letter of recommendation and he got accepted to the program and he went abroad, and now he's like came back and he's doing other experiences. So it's very helpful, maybe even not just in the moment, but into the future. And then lastly, a really cool benefit is that you connect with people from all over the world. A lot of these programs have other international students, not just from the United States, but from other countries. And also, of course, you're networking with people on campus, different faculty, staff members, admissions people. So you get the chance to kind of learn and connect with these people who in the future might become good friends, or also just might become very important people who can help you with different opportunities. So now that we know what study abroad is, right, the opportunity to go for a couple weeks virtually or in person to experience another institution, another school in another country, I want to talk to you about some specific programs at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. All right, so I work for a team called Badger Pre-College. Pre-college is everyone who is not yet in college, right? So middle, high school students. And we have kind of 2 kinds of programs. We have programs that are only for international students. So all the students in this program are going to be from other countries, not the United States. One program is the Education USA program. This is an amazing program. I'll give you more details in a minute, but it's 3 weeks and you come live in Madison. Then we have Education USA Academy Connects. This is a virtual version. So you stay in El Salvador and you do the program online. It's a synchronous program, so it's always live. We're always talking and engaging. And this is a 20-hour program. Then we have programs that are both for international and domestic students together. So we have 3 different options at UW-Madison. The first is a music clinic. This clinic is amazing. I told you I have a son who is 13. And every year he flies by himself. He's 13 years old from Costa Rica to Madison to participate in this program because he is a musician. So it's an amazing, very famous program. We have the Accelerated Learning Program, which is kind of like a college course. You choose one track, you choose, engineering or creative writing. And for 3 weeks, you focus on that course. And you live on campus. It's an in-person program. And then we have Badger Summer Scholars, which is similar, just a little bit less intense. And it's a 2-week program where you live on campus also. So let's take a look at some of these programs in a little more detail. And again, if you have questions, please ask. All right, so Education USA Academy is one program that we offer for international students. It is an in-person program, which means you come to Madison and you live at the university for 3 weeks from June 29th through July 20th. And the program is for students ages 15 to 18. Each year, the program has a different theme, right? This year, the theme is Global Leaders for Tomorrow's Future. Now, what does this mean? It means that you're going to be doing a lot of work and activities related to developing yourself as leaders. And what's cool about this program is for 3 weeks, you do not just come and sit in class and listen to people talk to you. It is very dynamic. So you sometimes go to the community and do volunteering. You meet with different organizations. You do have some time where you're doing classwork and activities. So it's very, very engaging. Okay. You also get the chance, because you live in the dormitories on campus during this program, what you do is you also during the day have kind of your academic part. And then in the evenings and on the weekends, you're doing different activities. So there are hundreds of other high school students in Madison at this time on campus. And so we organize activities like, bonfires, movie nights. We go walk around the campus. On the weekends, you visit Chicago, you go to a state park. So there's really cool opportunities to both see Madison and campus, but also the surrounding area. Another thing that's very important in this program is you actually get to go visit 2 other schools, like in person. And the reason is because, like I said, Madison is an amazing school, but it's not the school for every single person. And so we want to have you see a community college and a private school as well, a private college, so that you can see differences and understand what they offer and all of that. So it's a really cool opportunity to not just know Madison, but know other schools as well. Okay. Yeah. And the price of the program, that's a good question. So the price of this program is $4,900, and it's everything included. I'm going to write that here, except visa fees and airline tickets. So what does that mean? It means that the fee covers all the tuition, la matrícula, your housing, your food, your insurance, your activities, and your transportation in the program. And we pick you up and we take you back to the airport. Okay, so you have to pay extra. You need a visa, and you have to have, of course, an airline ticket. Okay, good question. All right, next, Academy Connects. This is the virtual program. So again, it's for high school students. The program is a little different. This has a focus on STEAM and skills for college success. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So if you have an interest in one of those fields, this is a great program. It's very diverse. We had students from all over the world, not El Salvador, but we have had students from all over the world participate, and it's very interactive. The class meets, there are 2 different times this summer. You choose one. So you can either come from in July for 4 weeks and meet on Mondays and Wednesdays in the morning, or you can come from July to August and meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening. Okay. And this course, again, it involves a lot of discussion. We bring guest speakers. You get to virtually see other schools. We take you to 2 other virtual visits with schools. You meet local students in Madison and interact with them, ask them questions about their experience. So it's very, very dynamic, and you also get to present. This program costs, I'll put it here, $490. And of course, there's no visa fees or airline tickets because it's a virtual program for the virtual program. So, and I can tell you personally, because I live in Costa Rica, I actually run this program, and it's an awesome program. And the students always have a really great time, and they're very energetic and excited to share. So it's a cool opportunity. The last one I'm going to give you some details about is the Accelerated Learning Program. And this is the one that's for both international and domestic students. You live on campus also for 3 weeks. And the main difference between this and the academy is that this one, again, is less general. It's more focused on one thing. So if you want engineering, you choose engineering. If you want astronomy, you choose astronomy, and you study that for 3 weeks. So this one is a little more like college. There's some assessments. You meet with your instructors to get feedback, and the same. Your academic part is during the day, but on the nights and at night and on the weekends, you're doing also fun activities and getting to kind of meet the community and mixing with other students. Okay, and the cost of this, to be honest, off the top of my head, I don't know, but it's around, $4,000, I think $300 also. I can show you at the end, the website. All right. With all of these programs, when you finish, you receive a you receive a certificate of completion. So why is this important? Because this is a program that is part of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, but for Education USA Academy and Connects, these are also supported by kind of a part of the Department of State. And so you get to become an alumni, an ex-student, right, ex-alumno, of both the University of Wisconsin-Madison and a Department of State program. So this is I think, very valuable, right, when you want to put it on a resume or an application. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about funding. So there are some scholarships available if you have need, right? These are need-based scholarships. You need to need them, okay? And these scholarships are for 50% of the tuition. We have some for the Academy and some for Connects. The application process for all the programs and the scholarship are very easy, okay? You do not need to write essays. You do not need to take tests, none of that, okay? A lot of times it's your kind of general information, maybe writing a little bit about yourself, why you want to participate in the program, and telling us about your English level. Because like Mariel said, these programs are in English. So you need to be able to speak at an intermediate level of English or above, okay? So you could go to our website here and I can just show you really quick. I'll just show you where it is because sometimes people struggle to find it. But if you go to the Education USA Academy website and you go to resources, if you go down to the bottom, and we have information here just so you know in Spanish and English, right? So you're able to find, these are ones right here that we have. But if you go down to the bottom here, there's a scholarship application button. So you're able to click there. All right, so we are just about finished. So I just want to take a minute to kind of summarize what we talked about, and then I'm happy to answer questions. So today we kind of looked at, right, what high school study abroad is and how it can act as a way to help you explore different schools to find a good fit for you, right? You have to not base it on the name or the ranking, but instead on what's good for what you need, okay? It gives you a chance if you go on a high school study abroad program or do one virtually to experience and understand the international student experience, as well as learn about new, majors and opportunities for students. It gives you the chance to meet with people in admissions and financial aid, think about how you're going to pay for school. And also, I think most importantly, is it gives you the chance to grow as a high school student, right? These are life-changing experiences. And also it gives you, something that's great for your resume, for future applications. And, it helps you to kind of know more about who you are and what you want. Okay. So, muchas gracias por su atención. Thank you very much. Here is the website for EdUSA. Our programs here are just those like music and other programs that we offer are on the second website. Here is my contact information. I am more than happy to answer any questions via email or WhatsApp. And if you have any questions right now, yep, I can absolutely give you the link. Adriana, what link? Oh, probably the website, I'm guessing. Let me get that for you.
I just typed it in on the chat.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yep. And then I'll just write here, go to resources and down to scholarship application. Yep. Great. Other questions?
You can definitely open your mic and ask your question. Oh, Adriana has a question.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yep. I have a question. Where specifically do we have to?
Yeah, so, okay, so if we're on this EdUSA website, if you want the Academy, you would go here. and there'll be a button right here, apply for the academy. If you want, that's the in-person one. If you want Connects, you would go to Connects, and there's a button. There are two different sessions for the summer. We're in the summer. So like I said, the first one is in July. The second one is more in August. You would click on that and apply. And if you were interested in one of the other programs, like the music program or ALP, up here in the corner is Badger Pre-College, up here in the right corner. And if you click on that, that'll take you to our main website. And here you'll be able to see that there's a tab for international students. And what I'll do is I'll put this in the chat right away. But this, if you scroll down, it has all the programs that are open to the international students that I talked about today. So you can go to that page, and it'll have also the different programs that we have here, and Connects is also here. Other questions? Sports scholarships. Yeah, so Marcos, if you're wondering about like scholarships for, I imagine, undergraduate, the short answer is yes. The long answer is UW-Madison is a Big Ten school. We are a huge school that's very, very athletically competitive. So what I can do is athletics at UW-Madison. What you have to do is that is a totally separate office with a lot of people and recruiters and everything. But what I can do is I'll put their website here. And what you can do is start to kind of research. I mean, you would either want to go to your specific sport, or maybe you could go to Why Wisconsin if you're interested in like actually playing a sport here, and get more information directly with them. What documents do I need to apply to college? Okay, so that is a good question. Also, I'm going to give you, that is actually not my office, but what I can do is that would be the Office of Admissions if you're thinking about like pregrado. And so what you would do is I'll put this in the chat as well. You would be a first year student, and you would go, I'll put this in here, but you'll see it has deadlines on this website. It talks about, excuse me here, the different things that you need, right? You need an application, a fee, essays, your transcripts or your grades, letter of recommendation, and then tests for your language proficiency if your school was not like all in English. So there's the website for that. Adriana.
Yes, and another questions.
Mhm.
For all of these programs that you just showed, do we have to apply and be accepted, or we just have to apply and then we are accepted?
Yeah, that's a good question. So these are not the high school programs are not competitive. So you just need to apply and you will be accepted, assuming, of course, you complete all the application, you pay the fees you have to pay. Then yes, you will be, and you have, of course, if it's in person, the visa you need to come, then you will be accepted. Yep. That's what's kind of nice. I think that, these programs, again, they aren't meant to be competitive. They're amazing. But they're meant to be, help you make life decisions. So we want anyone who's interested in participating to be able to participate. And I will say that in particular with the Education USA and Academy and Connects programs, these programs are not huge. They're not hundreds of students. And I think that's actually really nice. They're usually very diverse, very diverse. Like last year, I think we had the most representation we had was from Costa Rica. There were 3 students. Otherwise, almost all the students were from different countries. So really cool. And you kind of become like a family because you're all living in another country, or you're all virtually in this program together. You have similar goals. You're very driven students. And you're sharing this experience. So it's a really cool opportunity to really get to know your classmates and your instructors and kind of connect with them. Good question. Other questions? Uh-huh. Adriana?
Okay, another question.
Sure.
For example, if I want to apply for this program, but I'm in the process of getting a visa,
Mhm.
can I say that I want to go to this program in
Yeah,
my interview?
yeah, absolutely. I would think you'd want to. And actually, when you apply, just so you know, when you apply to these programs, except the virtual program, of course, you are issued a letter from the University of Wisconsin explaining that you're going to be participating in an academic program and blah, blah, blah. And so most students who are in the process of getting a visa will take that letter to their interview to kind of justify why they're looking for the visa. Something very important, I will tell you this, because we've heard this sometimes from different advisors, is when you're asking for a tourist visa, but you're going to an academic program, it's a little confusing sometimes to the embassies because they think, well, then you should have a student visa. But because these are not credit programs, they're more kind of like summer camps in a way. That's why you're able to participate, and they have limitations on the hours that you're in class. You can come on a tourist visa. So it's important, if you are going to go to an interview and you've participated, or if you've registered for one of these programs, I recommend you reach out to your EdUSA office because they might have some suggestions on like how to explain, why you need a tourist visa for an academic program, that kind of thing. I think that's very important because we have heard of students who go, and if they don't explain that very well, it can be challenging in that sense.
Okay, thank you. So your suggestion is going to our Education USA office
Yeah, or
for
reaching out. Exactly. They are like amazing resources. My recommendation is apply to the program so you can get your letter in time. And then, while you're waiting for your interview, reach out to your EdUSA office because they will be able to help you kind of understand the process and answer questions you have and kind of, help you think through, your program.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm not sure I see any other questions, but
Mhm.
everyone, you have Sara's email
Mhm.
on the slide. So if you have any questions specifically about Education USA Academy, Education USA Connects, please do not hesitate to contact her. And if you have other questions, like the questions that we saw about athletic scholarships, documents that you need in order to apply to college, then you can reach out to Education
Mhm.
USA. And the same, like we were saying before, um, if you have any other questions related to applications to universities, that is our mission here as Education USA. So
Mhm.
please reach out if you have any questions about applying to college to either Marta Carranza, who couldn't join us this afternoon, at mcarranza@educationusa.org, o conmigo, mosorio@educationusa.org. Adriana, creo que tienes una pregunta más.
Sí, tenía otra pregunta. Por ejemplo, si me acercara a la oficina de Education USA, ¿tiene algún costo el que ellos me den como la tutoría para poder aplicar?
No, nuestros servicios de asesoría son completamente gratis. Solamente sí, por favor, hagan cita, ¿verdad? No siempre estamos en la oficina, a veces tenemos eventos o algo, pero nuestra ayuda de asesoría es completamente gratuita. Solamente mándenme un correo, díganme su pregunta y yo con gusto los atiendo, ya sea de manera virtual o manera presencial. Entonces, como les decía, nuestra oficina está localizada adentro del Centro Cultural Salvadoreño Americano San Salvador y con gusto les podemos atender, de preferencia con cita. Para los que vinieron un poquito tarde y se perdieron el inicio de la sesión, la hemos grabado, entonces vamos a tratar de subirla a nuestra página de YouTube o a nuestra página de Facebook para que estén pendientes. Acá también pueden ver ahora nuestras social media. Síganos en Facebook, Twitter e Instagram. Búsquenos como Education USA El Salvador. Ahí estamos siempre publicando todas las actividades que vamos a tener. Aprovecho para invitarles al webinar que vamos a tener a final de mes. me ha ido la fecha en este momento, pero vamos a tener un webinar muy, muy interesante sobre HBCUs, Historically Black Colleges and Universities, para que se unan y nos acompañen. Muchísimas gracias, Sara, por el tiempo que has dedicado esta tarde para nuestros estudiantes y nuestros advisees. Y
muchas gracias a usted y gracias a todos por acompañarnos. Y como mencionó Mariel, cualquier pregunta que tiene, no duden en contactarme acerca de los programas o la universidad. Y con mucho gusto, si yo no lo puedo contestar, le pongo en contacto con la persona que sí puede. Y sí, sería muy bonito recibir a algunos estudiantes de El Salvador en este verano que viene. Veremos.
sí, perfecto, y estaremos enviándolos. Muchas gracias, Sara, y muchas gracias a todos. Que
Yeah.
tengan buenas
Good
tardes.
night. Bye bye.
Bye.